Living in the IT era, IT 100. A group report from Group 7, a Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Filipino, 2 Block D.
Data privacy is sometimes also referred to as information privacy, an area of data protection that concerns the people handling of sensitive data including notably personal data but also other confidential data, such as a certain financial data and intellectual property data to meet regulatory requirements as well as protecting the confidentiality and immutability of the data. The data privacy is important because in order for individuals to be willing to engage online, they have trust and personal data will handle with care. Organizations use protection, practice, and demonstrate to the customer and user they can be trusted with their personal data. So why is there need to have a data privacy law in various countries? So there's so many countries that adapt with a GDPR like data privacy laws. And coming forth on May 25, 2018, the General Data Protection Regulation or GDPR was a landmark of data protection. Tracing blocks governments and privacy organizations took note and over the last 3 years, the GDPR has inspired a data privacy legislation worldwide. In my view, there are two very commercial reasons why a country might adopt a version of the GDPR aside from the protection for its citizens. So, the two reasons why they adopt the GDPR laws in their countries is number one is extraterritoriality. The GDPR applies to the processing of European residents' data, technically all residents of the EU plus residents of the other European countries that have adopted the GDPR. No matter where in the worldwide the data processing takes place, if you want to sell the European residents, you need to be compliant with the GDPR, and the better way be compliant than to be adopt it. And the second is data export. The GDPR export rule is simply data on European residents can only be exported to place with a similar data protection rules. Technically, the European Commission or EC determines that if your rules is adequate, if you want to commercial benefit of processing of European residents, the data, then you need to adopt the GDPR or something like that. So, there's so many countries nga ning adapt nga sa mao nga GDPR laws. So, 16 to ka country, but the one example na mo is Canada. The only country that's adopted anything like the GDPR is Canada. In the United States, there's no federal level statute like GDPR, but a state have adopted their own legislation, most notably an CCPA in California. So, mga na example ni na mga Canada, because ang Canada is wala ra sila nag-adapt og usa ka law, which is nag-adapt sila kanang year 2000, which is na-adapt sila sa usa ka law pod nga PIPEDE, which is means Personal Information Protection and Electronic Documents Act. So, kanang ano man sila nag-adapt ni sila nga mo nga law with kuan para ma-secure pud ang ilang kaugalingon, which is it means a purpose to ensure that individuals have a control over their own data according to the act. You must obtain a personal consent in order to handle their personal data. Data Privacy Act of Philippines in RA 10173. It is the 21st century law of address the 21st century crime concern it. So, protected privacy and individuals while ensuring free flow of the information to promote innovation and growth. So, personal data refers to all types of personal information. So, in the year of 2000, 2012, the Philippines passed a Republication Act number 10173 or Data Privacy Act of 2012 or DPA to protect a fundamental human right, privacy or communication while ensuring free flow information to promote innovation and growth, and inherent obligation to ensure the personal information and communication system in government and the private sector is secured and protected. Second is regulates the collection regarding the organization, storage, updating, modification, retrieval, consultation, use, consolidation, blocking, erasure, or destruction or personal data. So this is a processing is any operation performed as upon personal data. This operation include but not limited to the collection, recording, organization, storage, updating or modification, retrieval, consultation, use, consolidation, blocking, erasure, or destruction of data. The third is ensure that Philippines complies with the external standard to set the data protection through the National Privacy Commission or NPC. So the National Privacy Commission protects individual person information and upholds the right to privacy by regulating the processing of the personal information.
The structure of the Data Privacy Act, and these are the following sections involved. Section 1 to 6, Definition and Provisions. Section 7 to 10, the National Privacy Commission. Section 11 to 21, Rights of Data, Subjects and Obligations of Personal Information Controllers and Processors. Section 22 to 24, Provisions specific to government. Section 25 to 37, Penalties. Sensitive personal information. Sensitive data is confidential information that must be kept safe and out of reach from all outsiders unless they have permission to access it. So access to sensitive data should be limited through sufficient data security and information security practices designed to prevent data leaks and data breaches. So these are the examples of sensitive data. Sensitive information includes all data, whether original or copied, which contains sensitive personal data, protected health information or PHI, and the education records, customer information, cardholder data, confidential personal information, personal data. So overall, the example of sensitive data that I can relate to myself is sensitive personal data, like we use social media and commonly Facebook, that we put our personal information like our names, but the personal information in our Facebook is limited, and if it depends on us if we share our private information. In general, sensitive data is any data that reveals racial or ethnic origin, political opinion, religious or philosophical beliefs, trade union membership, genetic data, biometric data, health data, sex life or sexual orientation, financial information or bank account numbers and credit card numbers, classified information. How to protect sensitive data? The first step in protecting sensitive data is data classification. Depending on data sensitivity, there are different levels of protection required. The key thing to understand is that not all data is equal, and it is the best to focus your data protection efforts on protecting sensitive data as defined above.
How to protect sensitive data? From the word of sensitive data, it's all about the personal information that we need to protect. The first step in protecting sensitive data is data classification. For your own words, what is data classification? Right? Data classification is all about kabantay mo na igtapin niya sa file manager na ali na ma-organize na yun ang mga music, mga apps, mga documents. That's why ang unang gid i-protect sa sensitive data is kaning data classification kay naa magudira ang tanan nga information nga na-access sa internet through sa imong cellphone. Ang data di ay laylahi din na siya og mga kanang mga problems, laylahi na siya mga issue, laylahi nga data, laylahi pud na siya nga kanang privacy nga mo protect ana nga data. The processing of personal information there is a qualification. For example, there are at least one permitted para bitaw siya mahimo siya ma-construct gid nimo ang usa ka sensitive data or usa ka kanang personal information rather. Number 1 is subject data. Kay baw ka nga or nangit nga ngayo ka og permission sa usa ka data, sa usa ka subject data nga dapat ka nang makatuhuan bitaw as a viewer. For example, ako, mo-post ko dapat na siya consent sa data subject nga kamatuoran ba nga tinuod jud ni siya. Reliable jud ni siya kay naam ni siya mga permission sa usa ka subject data. Mga number 1. Ang number 2 is all about the personal information with contract. It means sa personal information with contract is naa kay goal, naa kay usa ka kanang na kay usa ka focus bitaw nga kani for example ako mo post ko og mga kanang mga data nako, it's all about my opinion or nana. So dapat nakoy kontrata ana nga in 1 month is dapat mupatok din na siya. Dapat kanang applicable din na siya ing ana. That's why nga ang kanang imong ihatag nga data is naa siya kontrata. And then ang number 3 it's all about bitaw na nga na personal information nga dapat with arrangement yun, dapat organize yun na siya kay maabot mo good sa point nga if dili siya organized kay dili na siya mahimong legal obligation. That's why kung kita maghimo kitag data kanang dapat nunaon nimo dapat with process yun na siya dapat kanang hanay dili siya kagubot-gubot. The process food about anang personal information is to hide our personality. Dapat ang atong health or atong life is dili gina siya kanang dapat i-public bitaw kay it's a private, it's our own sake na naman sad, diba? Ang akong ikasulti lang gihapon ani nga personal information is dapat na siya secret information nga dili dapat nimo ihatag tanan, dili niya siya nimo kanang ibulgar tanan ang imong background. For example, ang akong data is all about kanang akong experience about kanang nanganak ko, yung anak. So, anak ako to. Anak ka mo focus sa data. Dapat panganak ra jud ka. Di ka maabot sa imong problema sa imong kinabuhi ng anak, pati nisura. So, dili na siya. Dapat naa siya limitation. Personal information data is dapat jud buduo jud ka ng mga public security. Dapat dili ka magbuot og managkuan ko ana imong data kay wata kay baw for example naa kay kanang sayop mga ana. So naa ang mga kanang mga public nga mo kuan sa imuha is makahatag pud na siya nimo og kanang more information nga ma'am ko ana siya ma'am di siya pwede ma'am. That's why nga kanang personal information sa imuha ng personal dapat mangayo pud ka og tabang bitaw sa uban kay mo gali na ay kanang na ay privacy or na ay protecting kay kana magpag-protect nimo sa data dapat namgid na siya qualification na siya kanang more process bitaw nga ma-protect pud. Personal information data is kanang mismo kita as a tao is kontrolado nato kay kita may naghimuan nga data, kita may naghimuan ng information. That's why as a data subject or a subject data is kay baw na ta mo control, kay baw na ka si angay ihatag anang information. That's why dapat legit pud siya, dapat katuhuan pud siya. For example, ako as kanang for example ako lang ning kanang kuan buhat. For example, kanang sa akong edad nga 15 years old, isang akong data or akong kanang topic is all about kanang pagbubuntis. So daghang kay mag-wonder sa kadaghang topic nganong kana man jud. So daghang kinag-wonder ba nga Look at ang topic. Ano ka na maging pagbubuntis? Kan dili man na siya relate sa iyang kanang sa iyang edad. That's why nga atong nanawon ang data is dapat applicable po sa tong kagalingan. Dapat ka na bitaw ka nang maka-realize po ta ba nga mismo ka ng data is ka nang makakuha po ta og idea. Okay. Next topic is all about concept of security incident versus personal data breach. Unsay naa ani? So, ano na to mahibawan? In 2020 daw, the average cost of a single data breach rose in all worldwide industry will gathering 4 million USD. So, dako kay gasto sila. Ngano unsa may hinungdan ano dako mo sila impact, dako makisag ng bayaran. Gathering with 4 million ha, ilang cost is 4 million USD. Saan yung USD? USD rather, dili USD, USD. USD rather is United States dollar. Dollar na siya. Especially sa kanang healthcare sector, ni-gather sila og 7.3 million USD. Okay? Healthcare sector is all about the hospitals, the dentist office. So dira nagtackle bitaw about sa health. So dako gyud sila issue ani, dako sila og kanang bitaw penalty or unsa ba. 7.3 million USD. This increasely is 7.56 billion 2015. So imagine dako na kay siya og kanang na spent bitaw ng money about ana. So kanang 75.6 billion 2015 naabot na siya 124 billion USD in 2019. So imagine ganito guys nga kaning nga data is grabe na gid siya grabe na kay siya og kanang dapat more in 100 times secure gina siya dapat kay uka nag-gather ni siya mga billion na ha para gi-secure ang usa ka data. Okay, about atong mga hospital, about sa atong health, so dira mo ni dako issue, diha mo ni dako big deal ani nga issue. According to version 2020 Data Breach Investigation Report, DPIR, there's a lot of differences between these two ideas, which is incident and data breach. So diri na to makita kung unsa gikalian ani nila nga two ideas. So i-continue ni Angel ang akong report.
Incidents: a security event that compromises the integrity, confidentiality, or availability of an information asset. So for example, Wi-Fi connectivity issue or kanang mga file sharing issue. So kanang mga files na needed na jud kaayo i-send but failed to send siya tungod sa kahinay sa Wi-Fi. So dili jud ka makasend kay tungod sa kahinay sa Wi-Fi. So mao na siya incident. Data breach: an incident that results in the confirmed disclosure, not just potential exposure, but also the data to an unauthorized party. So, for example, mga confidential na data nimo but na kuan sa uban na copy na kawat or nakita sa uban kay ganahan sila sa mao to ilang gikuan kay ang data breach man gud is kuan siya kanang security violation in which sensitive, protected, or confidential data is copied, transmitted, viewed, or stolen. Two kinds of incidents. An incident is a blanket statement used to describe many different things. So, ang incidents kay naasad na siya two categories. So, mao na siya ang kuan kanang security incident o privacy incident. So, ang security incident kay a security incident is an event that violates an organization's security policies and its procedures. So, kanang kuan ang security incidents kay nag-result na siya mga information that being accessed without authorization. So, kamantay mo ng mga programmer and then di ba maayo man kayo na sila mong hack. So, if maka-access na sila mga personal data or kanang confidential kaayo na kuan, mga confidential kaayo na data, so mao na siya security incident. Kay ang security incident manggod kay it is any incidents that results in unauthorized access to computer data, application networks, or devices. So next is privacy incident. So a privacy incident is a bit more serious. Okay, it refers to the disclosure of your related data, like someone's personally identifiable information or protected health information, thus violating the Department of Homeland Security's policies and procedures. So ang privacy incident kay a security violation in which sensitive, protected, or confidential data is copied, transmitted, viewed, or stolen. So, mao to siya ang kuan ka ng mga confidential data ni mo na nakapid, nakawat, or na-viewed, or nakita sa uban. Mao na siya ang kuan. So, other example is kanang sa phone na ay password. So, no matter how secure your phone is, kay masud gihapon na siya sa uban bisan pag unsa nga password imong ibutang sa mga apps nimo, so masud gihapon na siya sa uban, ma-invade gihapon imong privacy ana. Comelec data breach in 2016. Metro Manila, CNN Philippines statistician Jose Ramon Albert filed a complaint on Friday against the Commission on Elections or Comelec for allegedly failing to protect the personal identity information of over 50 million registered voters. The leak of sensitive personal information of at least 54 million registered voters when its website was hacked last March 27. The sensitive data of at least 54 million registered Filipino voters, including the 1.3 million passport numbers of Filipinos overseas and 15.8 million records of fingerprints, were compromised following the hacking of the Comelec website. So, millions of personal identity of information of the Filipino voters was hacked tungod sa kanang wala doon na protektahan ng mga personal information nila sa mga Filipino voters. So, mao to nag-complain nag-file the complaint si Jose Ramon Albert kay tungod sa na hack ang mga personal identity information sa mga Filipino voters sa unauthorized person.
That would be the end of our presentation. Reporters, content and video editor.